Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Final Fantasy. I was going to grind off screen, but I've been told by some that they don't mind watching level grinding. Well, you don't have magic. What are you doing? What am I doing with my life? So I figure, hey, let's have an episode of level grinding, a guild grinding, so you guys get a feel of how this goes. It's not that bad. I mean, and truth be told, it's part of the game. You can't escape it. Like, level grinding is something you do in this game, or you don't beat the game. I mean, jeez. Those hurt. Those 2 hits hurt pretty bad. So you have to grind. You have to grind for Gil, and at points you're gonna have to grind for levels, and there's just no getting around it. And I don't know if it was designed that way on purpose by the designers, by the game developers. You know, if they wanted the game to be that way, or if that just ended up how it was, you know. But that's how it ended up. And I've mentioned this in the past. I don't mind level grinding. In fact, I find it kind of fun. I know some people don't like it. I mean, it's tedious. It can be tedious. It can be tedious, and it can be just, it can be kind of boring, I guess, in some instances, but I don't really find it that way. The only time I really find it unpleasant is when you reach a certain level and the amount of experience you get for the enemies drops. So, for example, I'm going to think of 2 examples. Lost Odyssey, I think, did this. Lost Odyssey for the Nintendo 360. I was going to call it the Nintendo 360. It's a hybrid console. For the Xbox 360, you have to level grind in that game. There are some enemies in that game that are just incredibly difficult. I've actually never beaten that game. That's a game I would really like to do for the channel, but I think it's 4 discs on the Xbox 360. So I can only imagine that game is going to end up being like 200 hours. I can't imagine it being less than that. Just because it's such a long game, for starters, and then the fact that there's so much level grinding, and it's 4 discs long, so I can just ugh. It's not that I have a problem playing a 200-hour game. I've put 200 hours into a few games in my lifetime, 200 plus. So I'm not adverse to, putting a lot of hours into a game. I'm just concerned about the actual time that I have to play. That would probably end up being the only game I play. And it'd probably end up being like I don't know. I don't even know how many, like 400 episodes? If we're doing 30-minute episodes, I can't even. I don't even know if I would have the attention span to finish that game, much less expect people to watch it. But I've never beaten it. I've gotten to the 2nd disc, and I just got distracted with other stuff and ended up never beating it. So, but anyway, the whole point of that was there's level grinding in that game, and there's a point in the game where once you reach a certain level, so say you get 100 experience points for killing an enemy. After a certain level, you might only get 10. That's not the exact formula, but once you reach a certain level, the enemies don't give you the same amount of experience. So it ends up being at the point where the game expects you to be, the enemies are giving you a good amount of experience, a substantial amount, where you're leveling up at a good pace. But then after you reach a certain character level, you are no longer getting the same amount of experience. Or the other thing that some games do is say, are you really gonna block my way? Get out of my way. Thank you. Or the other thing that games will do is say you need 1,000 points to level up. All right, to reach the next level, and you're getting 100 experience a pop per enemy, which means 10 enemies you level up. But then for the next level, you need 10,000 experience points. So, those 100 experience points, which were so great, just one level ago, they're meaningless, because you just went from 10 enemies to 100 enemies, or whatever I said. Yes, 1,000 to 10,000, right. So those enemies are no longer worth killing. And so, yeah, you can level grind. And yeah, I mean, why do we keep fighting sharks? This is getting frustrating. I'd rather fight anything than sharks, because sharks are actually semi-dangerous, and they only give 66 skill. So I would much rather fight Sahogs of any variety. You see what I mean? Anyway, so those are the two ways that games will, I guess, discourage grinding. In a way, I mean, it doesn't stop you from doing it. But I guess it can discourage the behavior. I guess that's that negative reinforcement. And I've never played the game, so I don't know which one it is. So I don't want to talk out of my butt. But I believe it was Final Fantasy VIII that actually had enemies that leveled up with you. Wherein, if you actually started level grinding, you could, there came a point in the game where you would, I mean, obviously, if you've been playing Final Fantasy from the beginning, you played all of the ones that you've, dang it. Well, that's unfortunate. Nice. Actually, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna hit this guy, and then I'm gonna lightning that guy. So if you've been playing Final Fantasy from the beginning, and you're used to the level grinding, and in fact, you've learned, through, I guess at that point it would have been seven games, that level grinding is not only not a bad thing, but a necessity to beat the game. And then you start level grinding in this new one, and then next thing you know, the enemies have leveled up with you, to the point where you can't beat the game because the bosses are so hard. So that would have been a surprise for someone. Now that's just what I've heard. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that from a guy who really liked whichever one that was. I think it was 8 he was telling me about. So he was telling me he doesn't like 7. He said he only played a little bit of 7 and didn't like it. And I mean, I think part of that is just the amount of attention that game gets, I can see being a little bit annoying to some people. Because I'm like that. If there's something that a lot of people like, 9 times out of 10, I'll be like, it's probably stupid. But I don't agree with that particular one. I've never beaten Final Fantasy VII. Obviously, I know the ending and I know everything that happens. It's just because it's... How could you not? It's such a popular game and so widely known and everything. I think it'd be really hard to not know what goes on in that game, but I've never actually beaten it. I've gotten a little over halfway. I think it's a really good game. I don't know if it's the best one I've ever played. But I don't... I think it gets a lot of hate by a lot of people just because it's so popular. You know? And sometimes I don't disagree. Why would you get out of my way, woman? Thank you. Of all the places for her to stand, she has to stand in the exit. Yeah, so I don't know. I really enjoyed... Which one is it? The one with... What's the knight? Oh, of course I'm not going to be able to remember the name right now. Not Sid. Sid is the pilot. I can't remember. I think it's Final Fantasy 3. Like real 3. Not... Because I think Final Fantasy 3 is called... Because... Okay, so Final Fantasy 1 came out in the US. And it was Final Fantasy 1 in Japan. But I think Final Fantasy 2 came out in Japan and did not come out in the US. So it never... So when I think 3 came out in the US, they called it 2 because I don't know why. One of the dumber things that they have done. So now the numbers are thrown off. So when you're like, yeah, I play Final Fantasy 2. Like, did you play real 2 or US 2? Because those are 2 different games, you know? So I don't remember which one is which. But it's the one with, it's the one with the twin mages, the boy and the girl, and Sid looking for revenge. Oh no, the old mage, the one with the white hair and the glasses, that's looking for revenge because his daughter gets killed or something. And then there's the twin kid mages that are pretty good. And then the Dark Knight, and I don't remember the name of the characters. But I played that one. That one's really good. I played it on the Game Boy Advance. It was actually really hard. And you had to level grind in that game, or else you're gonna have a bad time. That was a fun one. I don't know if that's my favorite Final Fantasy. 10 was good. I enjoyed 10. 10 is another one that a lot of people don't like because it's so popular. Which, I mean, again, I don't blame people for feeling that way, I guess, because, as I said, I'm kind of ornery that way. But I'm mostly ornery with pop culture. Did he miss? He actually missed, didn't he? Yep, well, you know what? I'm not taking any more chances. We're actually gonna go lightning. But I think with pop culture, it's different because like pop music is objectively bad. And you know, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy X, they're not bad games, they're just, I think, overhyped. And I think that's the problem. There's a big difference between something being overhyped, and I don't disagree with that, versus something being bad because a lot of people like it. I think I meant to heal Eric instead of Ren. Yep. Yep. And thankfully everyone missed. Because that could have gone south. I think we got it, though. We should be okay. Come on. I think there is a big difference. You can tell the difference whenever I use darkness and not darkness. I think we're taking a lot more damage when I don't use darkness. But I wanted to focus down that odd eye before he paralyzed anyone. So we're almost at 5,000. It hasn't been so bad. It's been 16 minutes, you know. It could be a lot worse. So I think with 4,000, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and get the sword now, just because it's gonna make things easier. It'll make the other 2,000 go a lot faster. This is good grief. I'm not even gonna bother. Oh, good. I was like, that would have been ungood if he had gotten that hit. Not bad. Alright, and then we'll just... I'm gonna go ahead and darkness everyone. There we go. Of course, there's one that always... 2 of them. 3 of them. Nobody got darked. Good grief. And naturally, the only one that got darked is dead. Anyway, with the silver sword, it'll make grinding a lot faster. Like, all these misses and stuff like that, I don't think we're gonna have as big of a problem. I mean, not that Jean misses very often, but I mean, sometimes it's still a problem. But with the silver sword, it shouldn't be a problem anymore. That's enough for an in-stay at least. And how close are we to... We're really close to another level, actually. I'm gonna go ahead... Oh, just happen to walk in my way. It's quite obnoxious when they walk in front of you like that. I guess there are worse things in the world. I'm gonna go ahead and buy this sword. Alright, we sell the short sword. And then we buy the silver sword. And he's up to 40 hit percentage. So that took him from, I think he was at 34, took him all the way to 40. And look at that damage. I mean, obviously it's not enough to give him a third attack. But I mean, I think we're in pretty good shape moving forward. Oh man, yeah. It's just so obnoxious. I'm gonna fire this jerk. something I really do appreciate and like about this game is that the each weapon has its own sprite. So you'll see the silver sword actually is different than the short sword that we just got rid of. And I mean, you can see the damage output is quite nice. And that should be enough to level us, no? What are we at, like 1? Wait, I thought we were a lot closer than that. My mistake. And, well, we'll just swim around for a few more minutes. Try to get that level 7. See how we fare after that. I'm gonna leave the odd eye to Ren. That seems to work out fairly nicely. Yeah, these Sahags. If I mean, I don't think Jean was having a problem with them before, but they're definitely. Are you kidding me right now? Going after my mages naturally. This better work. Of course not. Alright, so just the one guy didn't get dark. And of course we missed. The one guy we needed to hit. Ridiculous. Actually, I'm done screwing around with these guys. Go ahead and cure Ren. Can somebody please hit? This should be it, though. I don't expect another round. Oh, well, we got one more round. I'm just focusing down with melee. Finish this guy off. Come on! There we go. Talk about overkill. He probably only had 20 hit points left. And we're like so close to the level. Yeah, 59. Any encounter on the water will level up. I'll cut it at whenever we level in this episode. And we're pretty close to the 2000 mark. When realistically, I probably want to have 2,100 gil, so I can rest at the inn after I spend all my money on the 2 bracelets. Man, now they're throwing this encounter at us quite often. And it's not a fun one. I always wondered how developers decide at what rate they want to increase the experience point limits per level. Because at like level 1, like there's no rhyme or reason why you would need some weird number, you know, instead of, I don't know, I always figured if I ever developed an RPG, I would make it like, okay, level 1, you need 10 experience points, and enemies may give you between 1 and 2 experience points, right? At level 2, you need 20. 20 more, not 20 total, 20 more. And then for level 3, you need 30. So by the time you're level 3, you've gotten 60 experience points total. You know? but is that not a good system? I don't know. So I always wondered, I've always been curious I can't believe this guy isn't dead yet. Like, this is the second round we focused him down. Why isn't he freaking dead? Thank you. Anyway, I've always wondered how developers decide that. Can't believe we're not leveled. Good grief. You know, like, why? You need, 137 experience points to level up. Just seems kind of an odd way to go about it. Not that I'm saying that that's an actual number, but it just seems that sometimes there's no real, it doesn't seem to follow a pattern of any kind. I don't know. Maybe that's just not good game design the way I was talking about it. I'm just trying to pay attention to see which two don't get darked. So. Oh, okay, good. So this guy needs to go first, so hopefully Jean can take care of that. Alright, if Jean can hit, we're home free. Okay. And that does it. Yeah, we leveled. Yay. Alright, that's a good one. It's actually a pretty decent one. Not so much for Ren. I got 2 HP out of that. Yeah, Brand didn't get that much either. But the most important thing is I want to see how close he is. Okay. I mean, he's not close, but 3 more hit per... Oh, no, the other important thing. I forget at which point Eric is going to be better off without armor. So let's see, right now he's at 549 absorb evade. 549. He's better off without armor right now. Okay, one more thing. He's at 2023. No, not quite yet. Almost, but not quite. So as you can see, as I told you guys earlier, there was going to be a point where he was going to be better off without armor and without weapons, and he's reached the point where he's better without armor. So, and by a good chunk. So I guess we're going to go ahead, sell off his armor, rest at the end, save the game, and call it an episode. It's a particularly long one today, but that's okay. So we're gonna sell. We're not gonna get much out of this, but I mean, oops, not pie. Nope. Sell. Eric. Gloves. Yes. I mean, we're only at 200 away from our goal. So actually, that's not too bad. Well, it's going to be a little less. I mean, a little more now that I'm about to sleep at the end. But pretty good progress, I would say. So just a little over 200. Well, 300 for the end as well. So I think we can get 300 gil pretty easily. So I'm probably not gonna show that part. So next episode I'll have enough gil to buy the 2 bracelets and at least a little bit of gil left over so we can sleep at the end in case we need health. So thanks for joining me for this episode, and I hope you guys had a good time, and I'll catch you guys next time.